Hey, Nelson. Hear me? Everything good?
Yeah. Oh, I'll be back in 5 seconds.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Are you?
Sorry. Yeah. So I
Okay.
had my tooth out.
Oh, all right. So I guess we should start from the beginning. How old do you believe the Earth is? Maybe, I think that would be a good starting point.
Well, I mean, I believe in a young Earth creation.
So like thousands of years old, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions. What ballpark?
I believe a ballpark could probably be 6 to 10,000. The idea is around 6,000.
Okay.
So hold on.
I'm
guessing the idea is that when something's sitting in the water, it screws up the whole dating system. So the flood, there's a lot of reasons to believe in a young Earth. The distance from the moon, basically everything.
Okay, so I'm gonna go take a wild guess here and believe that your primary source is the Bible.
For a young Earth, or
yeah. I mean, why else would you believe?
That's one of them, but there's also scientific evidence of a young Earth. So
okay. Well, maybe we should dive right into that. So, is a young Earth?
I mean, this isn't about young or old Earth, right? This is about, you said evolution is a scientific fact, what would you say? I mean, you said it was like gravity. It was just an obvious, proven fact, and I just say that's absurd to just say that it's even provable. You can't prove evolution.
Well, it's not provable in the way math is, but then again, nothing is. I mean, you can't prove that you exist in the first place.
If you pre-assume,
you can't prove the Earth is round. You have you can stack up evidence that the Earth is round, but it's not provable in the way math is.
Well, you can, if you base your observations on assumptions, then whatever you assume is most likely to be quote unquote proven. So,
well,
if you get your assumptions right, you will prove whatever you want.
Would you agree that there are reasonable assumptions and unreasonable assumptions? Oh shit! My daughter just woke up. Hey, can you go get her? She just woke up. Sorry. Okay, so would you agree that there are reasonable and unreasonable assumptions?
Well, it depends on your worldview. So I think that it really depends on your worldview, and that's what everything comes down to.
But are there reasonable and unreasonable assumptions?
Well, again, it depends on your worldview. So from a worldview, I guess there could be or could not.
From your worldview, are there reasonable and unreasonable assumptions?
Well, again, I have my worldview has a foundation for reason itself.
Okay, so there is such a thing as reason.
There is reason, but that's question number one. Where can you prove reason? Can you prove that? Okay. That I mean, I assume you think you're a reasonable person, right? Did you watch the Ken Ham versus Bill Nye, the fraudulent science guy, the fake science guy? Did you watch that debate a couple years ago?
I saw your article on Kent Hovind, and I gotta say, man, when I first started debating, when I was about 13 or 14 years old, Kent Hovind was around at that time, and he had his like $10,000 challenge or whatever it was. And that's really what got me interested in debating and politics and science and stuff like that was listening to these people debate on forums. And so like my very first experience debating people was over the evolution and young Earth creationism issues and stuff. And when in grad school, at seminary, I was even still debating this stuff. So this is fun for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's not fun, don't do it, right? Or at least if it's not interesting, it's the cost-benefit analysis. Do you get more out of than you put in?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't know there was actually such a thing as young Earth creationism until
well, I find that hysterical because people. So I was in New York on the up, and I was at CUNY Graduate Center in a doctorate program. I took environmental economics, and after we had a group project, and I was like, hey, let's do it on dams, right? And we did it on dams. And I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and we have dams. You know how many dams there are in the U.S.? It's staggering. 75,000 dams. So anyways, that's a lot, right? Per state. So anyways, we were kind of chatting afterwards. I told him that I did believe in creation. And he actually looked at me like this. I didn't think any of you people existed anymore. So I just think that to show that you just don't get out, right? You need to get out more. Well, no, to say that the viewpoint is ignorant, but you don't even know the viewpoint exists. Like, where is the ignorance in there? So, anyway.
Well, I mean, I didn't know about flat earthers till I found them either. So, I mean, I kind of put them in the same category a little bit.
Well, the idea of the flat Earth society and all that's been around for a long time, but I've never met one. I do question whether there are real flat earthers, that people that are running around saying, yeah, but so there's a few people that will say it, but I think there's a lot of trolls.
I've met a real in real life before, like a serious, real deal, true blue flat earther. And you're a true blue young Earth creationist, so
the circular Earth is, I mean, that was proven in about, what is it, 42, 43?
What do you mean proven?
What was it? The Greek mathematician was able to find. He found the circumference of the Earth with a stick.
What is proof? I don't know what you mean by proven and proof, because when you say that, I'm thinking like in the mathematical sense. Anyone familiar with science knows that science doesn't actually prove things in the same way that math does. So technically,
yeah, but it wasn't. It was math.
That the Earth is round. We haven't proven that the moon exists. Science can't prove things. It doesn't even try to. We just stack up evidence.
Well, that's correct. So I don't think, science assumes a bunch of things, and then you go out and you study and you make observations, but you assume your observations are valid. You assume your reason is valid. And if you're a naturalist, you have no foundation for that. Like if you're going to base your entire theory in naturalism, as kind of what we got in our last debate, obviously. But if you're going to base all of your ideas in naturalism, then you can't prove anything because nothing makes any sense at all. Your observations don't make sense. Yeah. So you show me what is that, chemtrail?
Let's go back to, okay, you think the Earth is somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 years old. You believe that because the Bible says so.
Well, there is scientific evidence to show that as well. So.
Okay. Do you know that there were...
well, here, I'm just looking it up. Very little sediment on the seafloor, bent rock layers, soft tissue and fossils. They found dinosaur DNA, which if dinosaurs are millions and millions and millions of years extinct, it wouldn't exist. I mean, they were shocked, right? They totally hit it. Rapidly decaying magnetic field, helium and radioactive rocks, carbon-14 fossils, coal and diamonds. One of the problems with carbon-14 dating is that you assume it is as it had always been, as hundreds of millions, 4 billion years. You think that nothing has changed?
So, is that the method you think they use to determine things that are over 1 billion years old? Do you think they use radiocarbon?
Well, that is the main method that they determine the age of things. There's just a lot of assumptions based on it. What?
That's what you think?
Well, they do a lot of, well, we know this is this old and this is similar, and so it must be the same old. They find them in layers.
So they don't.
Right? A lot of the layers don't make any sense either. So
no, so you're just wrong about that. They don't use radiocarbon dating for ages.
Well, they do use radiocarbon dating quite a bit. It's still the number one method. So
not for that age. Radiocarbon dating doesn't go back to 1 billion years, and it's never used in any scenario for anything older than that.
So how would you, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about how would you figure out that something is 3.7 billion years old? How would you know that it's 3.7 billion years old?
Different dating methods that you're probably unaware of. Radiocarbon is simply one of many that they use. And if they all seem to point in the same direction, and 0% of them point in the direction of 7,000 or 8,000 years old.
Well, radiocarbon dating doesn't do anything. It's a poor dating system.
Okay, well, think about this. The laws of physics say that the Earth can't be the age that you say it. So do you believe the laws of physics used to be different before, or what are your thoughts on that?
Where do the laws of, because you're getting to a small piece of this, but you're saying evolution is proven. So I want to stick to the evolution in our 35 minutes. So where do the laws of physics come from? What evolutionary property produces the laws of physics? In our last one, I quoted Hawking saying because laws.
Or do you want to talk about physics? Which one? Because I can talk about either.
No, it says evolution is both fact and theory. So you said evolution is as provable as
which one? Evolution or physics? Choose the topic.
Well, the topic here is evolution is both fact and theory.
Right?
So that's.
So let's go to evolution then, right?
Yeah, so stick to evolution.
Fine with me. So life evolves. That's a fact. We know that. That's why we have things like bacterial resistance. We see that we have in fact.
Okay, so let me just interrupt you. Are you gonna when you say evolution, what do you mean by evolution?
I mean the theory of evolution.
Which is what? State your view of the theory of evolution.
That life evolves. That's a fact. That.
What does that mean, though? I don't understand what that means. Because that means different.
Do you know how DNA is passed from one organism to the next? Do you know how that mutates, and over time, it's able to produce new species?
Okay, so you're saying new species, entirely new species. So so go back to the beginning, very beginning of evolution. What is your theory on the very beginning of life? Okay,
so you're talking about abiogenesis, which is has nothing to do with evolution. Period.
Well, no, this is evolution, because you're going to talk about small changes, resistance. Nobody argues that. You're saying, because when people say evolution, they're talking about macroevolution, changing of species, which doesn't exist. There is zero evidence that things can change species. There is evidence of microevolution. Nobody debates that. Right? There are brown people, there are white people, there are yellow people, etc. So microevolution is, nobody debates that. Small changes within species, but species do not change. That's new species.
Do you know that or not? Do you not know that?
No. There are no newly developed species. Entirely
Roundup Ready corn before? Was there such a thing as Roundup Ready corn?
What do you call it? What do you
Roundup
call it?
Ready corn? Have you ever heard of that? Did that use?
Oh, corn. It's corn, right? It's corn.
Yeah, sure, but it's a different species.
It's corn. Okay, no, it's not a different species. It's corn. It's corn. You have corn and you have Roundup Ready corn.
What is a species?
That is not. Nobody debates that. Nobody debates that. A cat and a dog, right? Canine versus feline. Can a canine turn into a feline?
What is it?
When people say evolution, that's what we're talking about.
Nelson, what is a species? Can you explain to me what you think a species is?
Well, define species, because you're the one that's saying that evolution is provable. So I need to prove
classification systems.
You said things change species.
They do.
Nobody debates that corn turns into different types of corn. So what? That doesn't prove evolution at all. That doesn't mean anything.
Species is, first of all, I mean, it'd be difficult to have this conversation if you don't know what a species is.
Here, you want to read off the definition? A group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreed. Actually, this is actually a good topic, because somebody debated Stefan on this, and he read off species doesn't really mean a whole lot.
Yes.
So it just says similar individuals capable of exchanging genes. Yeah. So you're saying that Roundup Ready corn is nothing like corn. They're no longer capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding, or.
I can tell you 100% for sure that there are new species that we've created, new species of bacteria, for example, that cannot reproduce.
They're bacteria.
Okay.
They're still bacteria. So when we're talking about different species, we're talking like bacteria turning into virus or something like that. So I really need to push
Nelson,
this.
Bacteria is not a species. Do you know that mammals?
Well,
do you know that mammals aren't a species and animals are not a species?
Is a bacteria a living organism?
Yeah, it is, but it's not a species.
Okay, well, I'm just reading off the definition of species: a group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable. So,
so are animals a species?
Are animals a species? No, there are different species within the animals.
Bacteria,
I would say.
Just so you know, not all bacteria are the same.
Okay, but again, can your evolutionary theory is that all things came from a single cell, right? Do you believe that?
Well,
is that what
I want to?
Is that what you want
to? I want to make a distinction between abiogenesis and the theory and fact of evolution, which are distinct.
Well, again, nobody debates microevolution. Nobody debates that. Okay, brown hair, people with brown hair, they have kids with black hair, yellow hair, whatever. So small micro changes within a species, but species do not turn into other species, right? So again, species, the definition of species is very vague.
But they do, though.
Group of living organisms, but they don't. So okay, so go prove this. Prove this for me. Corn is corn. Corn doesn't turn into wheat.
Are you done? Okay.
I'm waiting for some kind of evidence.
Back to what I was saying about bacteria. So you know that bacteria is not a species, right? Can that be the starting point of this conversation? That bacteria is not a species?
Well, according to the definition, well, okay, fine. Doesn't matter. But species is very vague.
It does matter. So it is very important that you know that.
Well, you used corn.
Now I'm talking about bacteria. This is going to be a much better example. So do you know that bacteria is not a species? You know that there's more diversity between bacteria than there are between lions and dolphins. You know that, right?
There's a what?
There's a lot of genetic between bacteria, much like can you reproduce with a fish? You're both animals. Surely that means that you can you're the same species, right?
Well, according to evolution, I don't see why not. Why wouldn't evolution allow that?
I think the main problem here is I see.
Aren't there mermaids? Why aren't there mermaids? That's a big question. Why aren't?
That's what it boils down to. I think you simply don't understand what the theory of evolution is. That's what it boils down
to. Whose theory? The
theory of evolution.
There is not a singular theory. There are different ideas on the theory of evolution. So people talk about Darwinian evolution, but people laugh at Darwinian evolution at what nonsensical. All of science for the last 150 years of scientific research is mostly proven Darwinian evolution is basically nonsense. The simple cell. The cell is the most complicated thing in the universe, just about. He called it a simple cell. He said 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells. People are millions of cells. They must have evolved from that. That's very much simplifying it.
No,
but so the theory of evolution it does slightly vary, at least.
Okay, well.
So that's what I'm asking. What is your
0% of scientists that I would, as far as I know, who work in the field would say that life doesn't evolve. I would estimate that to be, we can safely round that down to 0%. We can safely round down to 0% the number of biologists or anyone even remotely related to that field who don't think that life evolved.
Yes, but so what? The consensus doesn't matter. Are you going to go with the 97%?
I'm trying to say,
which we know is a lie.
You're just rejecting facts outright. I'm trying to explain to you that bacteria.
Well, you're telling me a consensus. You're saying they took a vote and therefore it's a fact. Of course that's nonsense.
There's no dispute in the community at all. Period.
Well, there is a dispute.
Not within biology. There isn't. You can.
But again, if you go to biology school, there is a huge debate within the school, but they get fired. They lose tenure, expelled. The movie Expelled. The movie
A
Expelled.
movie that's your.
He found them. He found them. He found them. They got fired because if you dispute evolution,
Nelson, you just
fired.
keep talking. You're not listening. Are you telling me? Right?
You're not saying anything.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're not saying anything. I'm waiting. So you're saying 100%. I don't care. Okay, go ahead.
Are you done? Can I talk now? Or is there a delay? Like I don't get it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me. All right.
Just kidding. Yeah.
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
starting point. Do you know that bacteria is not a species? That there's incredible genetic diversity within bacteria. That used to be a kingdom. Now they're kind of going away from that classification system. But you do know that, right?
Okay. Well, I don't study bacteria, so I don't know the different classifications specifically.
Well, just take my word for it then.
But my point is that bacteria stays bacteria. Bacteria doesn't turn into viruses, doesn't turn into humans. That's my point.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, in the same way that humans don't magically turn into lions, right? So that.
Well, as Gish said that if a princess kisses a frog and it turns into a prince overnight, that's called a fairy tale. If they say it takes millions of years, that's hard science.
Well, riddle me this. Okay, what is microevolution? Explain to me what microevolution is.
Small changes within species or within bacteria, within viruses. The AIDS virus mutates, but it's still the AIDS virus. There are 100 and some different types of dogs, but they're still dogs. There are a huge variety of cats, but they're still cats. There are a lot of different people, right? People look all sorts of different heights.
From continuing to change? What stops them? Is there something that actually stops them from continuing to change over time?
Yeah, the laws of nature.
Which laws?
All the laws. Can a human turn into another? Can a human mate with another species and create a third
Neanderthal.
species? No.
Yeah, you have Neanderthal DNA inside of you right now because your ancestors did that.
Well, you have DNA of people who existed thousands of years ago, but you don't have so-called Neanderthal or ape DNA or something like that. And again, I already proved that nobody can live within that theory.
What do you mean nobody can live within it? It's like you.
Well, we already debated it. We debated on that. So anyways, go ahead. Go ahead.
Community lives within that.
No, nobody can live with that. Nobody can live within that theory, the evolutionary theory. What's the difference between an ape and a human? Apes,
less than 1% difference actually, genetically.
No. So why would you kill an ape? We already got into that. Okay. So most people, why did they shoot Harambe? Why is a human life more valuable than an ape's life? I mean, basically, it's universally. So that's what I said. It's the other debate. We're not going to get into that. So, order. Do you believe order?
Hang on. I asked you a question. What stops things from, you admit they change. You use the word called microevolution, which I think only creationists ever use that term, but whatever.
Okay, go look it up. Microevolution, macroevolution. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do my little sank. Look it up.
All right, just let me finish. So you say you agree that things can change, and I asked you a very direct question. What stops them from continuing to change? You said the laws of nature. Which law? What specifically would stop something from continuing to change over time?
Continuing to change. What do you mean?
You already admit it can change. So what's stopping it from continuing to change?
They can. So changes within a bacteria or within a virus is a loss of information, right? They lose information. Why do they become resistant to certain things? Because they lose something that the drug used to hook onto, and it can no longer, that drug that used to kill bacteria or whatever used to be able to hook onto a certain part of the bacteria. Bacteria loses information and it can no longer do that. That's what that's what micro changes within
Yes.
the animal kingdom are. But again, why can't they? So you believe they can, though,
What
right?
stops
Correct?
that process from continuing indefinitely?
Well, what's the? Are you looking for like a scientific?
You know what you're saying. You agree that an object in motion will continue to be in motion. What you're theorizing,
unless acted on by another
what you're
force.
theorizing is something that's just hitting the brakes in midair. But I'm asking you, what is that thing? What is that?
No. They can change. They can continue to change, but they will never become a different species. There is zero evidence that has ever occurred.
What is there?
So you cannot show or provide any reason for me to believe, or anybody to believe, that has ever or could ever occur. That's the crux of your argument, is that you're trying to argue macroevolution. Again, nobody debates microevolution. Bronson.
What stops it? I'm asking for a physical mechanism that actually physically stops it from continuing.
That's not their intended purpose, so they can't.
What are you talking about? Intended purpose? Well,
we're talking about a created life. Life was created with things after their kind. Things produce after their kind. We know that.
What? No. I asked you for a physical mechanism. You agree that they can change. I'm asking you for a physical mechanism that stops them from continuing to change.
I'm just saying that their purpose. Can you provide me with evidence that they have? So I'm not arguing that they don't change, but it's a loss of information. You need new information to come in order to get a whole new species, and that doesn't occur. You can't get new information. It's a closed system, right? We live in a closed system, right? Do you believe that we?
This is a good QallOut. Let's get back to the mechanism.
Hold on.
What is the physical mechanism stopping things from changing?
Well, one, I would say entropy, the law of entropy, right? You believe in the law of entropy.
Yeah, why don't you explain to me how?
Everything devolves. Everything devolves. We know from all observations that the universe does not evolve. It devolves. It goes from order to chaos. And so you're trying to say that there's somehow some kind of new information that's going to be put into the universe.
So, right? Technology can exist then, right? Because that's what? Because entropy, like what do you? Technology can improve, right? Because of entropy.
You're talking about an outside
force. Get more
force.
Complex, right? So that must mean technology can't get.
No, you're talking about an outside force. You're talking about an outside. You're confusing things. You're talking about something that's acted on by an outside force.
What are you talking about?
So the universe itself. If you believe in evolution, you believe there is no outside force causing evolution, correct?
Hang on a second.
Because basically evolution is a naturalist theory, but if you're going to say it's a theistic evolution, evolution needs a God.
First of all, the Catholic Church came up with the Big Bang Theory, and
I don't care. I'm not Catholic. The Catholic Church is a false religion. Okay, so I don't know why you would bring that up.
You're just completely wrong. All right, the Catholic Church. I will put the theory of
evidence, please. Evidence.
Evidence. You're saying that it's a naturalistic, and you have to be an atheist to believe that, but it's not true. You're just wrong. Period.
The Catholic Church is based in paganism, so I mean we can get into that if you want.
Jesus, no.
What did Constantine live? What was the era Constantine lived in?
Gish Gallop. Can we?
When was? Do you know the history of the Catholic Church? Do you know anything about the history?
I know that they believe.
No,
I'm not. They believe in God, and you're saying that they can't believe in God. You're wrong.
But they believe in Mary as a co-redemptrix. They believe in Mary as a co-redemptrix. They pray to saints.
They can't believe in God, but they do believe in God. So that is evidence against your belief.
What?
You said it has to be realistic, and only atheists can believe in evolution. I
didn't say that.
Period.
I didn't say that. But
okay, what are you talking about? This naturalistic universe and evolution.
I'm saying evolution is a naturalistic theory.
Belief in God,
evolution needs God, but God does not need evolution. That's the basic premise right there.
Evolution needs God.
Evolution, yes, because as you said with technology, okay, technology and knowledge grow because they are acted on by outside forces, outside knowledgeable reason forces, aka humans, right? Knowledge grows because humans study knowledge.
So that's what you think a closed system is, right? So,
evolution, no, the universe is a closed system, right? I mean, that's the whole law of thermodynamics.
But according to you, entropy somehow prevents me from talking to you on a phone because technology should not have been improving over time, right? It can only get worse.
What are you talking about?
That's your what's your entropy argument against evolution? What?
Do you not know the law of thermodynamics? The law of thermodynamics.
Your interpretation of it is. How do you think that?
Well, the second one is that, so you've got everything in the universe is winding down, correct?
Okay.
Usable energy is disappearing. That means at some point, usable energy must have been pure. All energy in the universe must have been purely usable energy. And at some point, it will be zero usable energy, right? Do you know how the heat works? Things like that? How do you heat? You heat water? It's an energy transfer. You use energy, you transfer it into heat, it heats your water. It's no longer usable. You can't use it twice.
On Earth.
Where did it come from?
Where did what come from?
Where did this 100% usable energy? At some point, if you go backwards in time, you would hit some point where all energy is 100% usable.
On Earth?
Yeah, in the universe.
I guess this makes sense if you think the Earth is 8,000 years old. And like, I don't know what kind of theory of physics you subscribe to, if that's your belief. But can I just explain a little bit about physics to you and how this actually works in real life?
I'm just explaining to you
what the sun is, right?
That the law of thermodynamics disproves evolution in and of itself. It's not possible. The sun, yes. What about the sun? Where did the sun come from?
What's that got to do with evolution, though? Listen to me. Our energy comes from the sun, right? You understand that? Do you understand that we don't absorb 100% of the sun's energy? Do you know that?
Well, we don't really absorb. We don't obtain energy necessarily. We eat plants that plants get energy.
You understand that? You understand? Okay, because you're talking about entropy, and I've heard this argument so many times that it was dumb the first time I heard it, and now I'm hearing it again.
It's not an argument. It's a law. It's the law of entropy. That's the law of the universe. These are natural laws, right? When we're talking about natural laws, this is just one of them.
And what does that have to do with evolution?
I mean, you mentioned gravity. It's a natural law. Where do natural laws come from? Hawkins says that it's because natural laws exist, the universe can create itself, which is a nonsensical.
You can't explain in any way what the fuck that has to do with evolution.
Where did evolution start?
What the fuck does that have to do?
You must have a starting point. Well, you haven't provided any evidence that macroevolution exists.
Actually,
anyways.
It doesn't. Just life evolved.
So are we discussing?
We could put a huge question mark, and everything about evolution would still be true. We could say, we don't know how the fuck this started.
No, it wouldn't. There is no evidence. There's no reason to believe evolution. The fact that you believe that you have reason in itself, I think, means you can't actually believe in evolution. Where did your ability to reason come from?
What is that?
Did it evolve? Did it evolve?
What does that have to do with the fact of evolution? Like,
did reason?
What does that have to do with how genetics work? You know how genetics work?
Well, I'm saying that your belief in how genetics work is based on your reason and your observations.
You know how DNA works? Do you believe?
These are all based on your belief in reason, right? You believe that you can observe these things and you can reason them through.
Do you believe in DNA?
Just, is it a yes or a no? Do I believe in DNA? No, I don't believe in DNA. I believe DNA exists.
What the fuck does that have to do with evolution? When you're talking about evolution, you're like, oh, well, where does reason come from? No, Nelton, do you believe in DNA?
Do I believe in DNA? No, I don't believe in DNA. I believe DNA exists, but no, I don't believe in DNA.
Okay. Got it. So do you know how genes are passed on through sexual reproduction? Do you know how that works?
Basically,
you
yes.
know how mutation
So I took the basic bio class in high school.
works?
Yeah.
You know how mutation works?
Yes. Again, I just mentioned that. I talked about that.
Now let's X 10 trillion billion times, right? So you know that there is a little bit of mutation each time, right? Now, if you were to fast forward, let's say you run that same experiment a billion times. Do you know how to do math? Do you know how that, like, you...
It's absolutely absurd. It's absurd because it's like dropping paper. You have a handful of alphabet soup pieces, and you're going to drop it, and you're expecting it to spell out words. You say it doesn't spell out words. Oh, all I need is time. I'm going to go up in a helicopter. I'm going to drop them again, and I'm going to get a whole sentence spelled. That's what DNA is. DNA is a very intricate, unique language. How does that develop? How did that evolve? How did DNA?
That's what I'm saying, because you're
mutations are a loss of information.
You're back on Pluto.
They're not a gain of information. They're a loss of information. Mutations are a loss of information. Well, maybe that's where we came from. That's what most people have devolved to. That, well, you know what? Evolution is so ridiculous. That's what most of these people have devolved to. Even Dawkins is, adamant evolution is a fact, but it's so ridiculous that it had to be planted. The panspermia.
You understand how genes work. You understand how DNA works. You understand how mutation works. What is proof?
Yes, lots of information. Why would I believe that more information comes from mutations? It doesn't. More complicated.
So you don't understand how it works. Well, I mean,
no, that's how they work. That is how they work. Yeah, Frank Turek has a whole thing on this.
You should rename the title. I should have said Nelson does not understand the theory of evolution, and you should argue.
You haven't asked me. I don't think you understand the theory of evolution. You're the one that's saying it's a fact, and you don't even. I don't think you really understand.
It's absolutely a fact. It's a fact that life evolves.
No. It's when you say evolution, you're talking about macroevolution, and you've admitted this. Okay, I'm saying microevolution. Yeah, microevolution is a fact. Duh. Okay, nobody. There is nobody that disputes that. There are small changes within the human race, within cats, within dogs, but never can you get a new species out of a mutation.
We'll do that already. You're just denying a basic fact. It is a fact that...
Well, no, I'm saying that it's a basic fact that new things new information cannot be created out of nothing.
They can, but they do.
A mutation. But they don't. That's my whole point. Is you have never seen it happen. You have never observed it. Science is observation, and you have never observed any evolutionary.
I don't have a blue boogie board, and I'm like, no, I do have a blue boogie board. It's right here, and you're like, no, blue boogie board doesn't exist.
No, you're not saying anything. You're not providing any of the evidence. You're just asking about DNA, and I'm explaining it. No. But you're saying it's a scientific fact like gravity. I can observe gravity. You cannot observe evolution. You cannot observe evolution.
We have in laboratories. Listen, Nelson.
You've never observed evolution in laboratories. No. You've observed microevolution in laboratories, but you have never observed macroevolution. And when we say macroevolution, we're talking about macro.
I have a blue boogie board.
Yes, you're in Hawaii. You have a boogie board. You're in Hawaii. You're going to go surf a little bit. That's great.
I have a blue boogie board. I can also prove to you that we've observed evolution in the lab. I'll send you some links. I don't know. Maybe you're just ignorant of the fact, but that's also a fact. Just as it's the fact that I have a blue boogie board, it's also a fact that we have new species that didn't used to exist thanks to evolution.
So let me ask you this: when you were when this supposed event in the lab, which didn't happen, but did it just happen on its own?
No.
Or did somebody act on it?
That's how adaptation works. That's what
did an intelligent designer act
on. That's what evolution.
Did an intelligent designer act on these things and input new information himself?
What would it matter?
Because that's the whole point. Evolution assumes there is no third actor, right?
Not at all.
There is no external actor. Oh, absolutely. It's evolution. Where did you get this from? Where do you get the third
actor? You can always influence.
Where do you get the creation? Where do you get this intelligent
humans
designer?
Influence evolution? So there's nothing in the theory that says we cannot act on it. I don't know where you got that idea, but it's
humans have been around for how long? 10,000 years, according to your theory, right? What about the 3.7 billion years before that? How did humans act on it before they existed, according to your own theory?
What you're getting confused here. You said they can't be involved, and you're thinking and when I say
well, no, you're saying evolution is a natural.
Stop. Let me finish, and I'll let you talk. God damn it, Nelson. All right, you're saying the theory of evolution says there can't be an intelligent actor, and I'm telling you that's not true. We are allowed to act on it. And you're saying, oh well, what about before there were humans? So what you're trying to say is that I'm saying that we have to be there. No, I'm just saying that we can be there, but we don't necessarily. You're like taking two completely opposite things that aren't related. You know. Just because we can act doesn't mean we're absolutely necessary to it. Do you understand how that works?
I'm saying you say it's observable, and you say it's been done in a lab. I'm saying how. Okay, it's not observable. It's never been observed. Now, if you go into a lab and you take pieces of two different things and you have an intelligent designer? Okay. That's got nothing to do with evolution. Evolution doesn't need, if you're going to say a theistic evolution, maybe, but evolution says it's a natural process.
I don't understand evolution. I would be like if I'm explaining gravity and you're like, well, no. Gravity says that this ball has to catch on fire. I'm like, no, that's not what it says. And you're like, no, that's absolutely not.
No, you're saying evolution is proven and observable like gravity. And I'm saying it has never been observable, it has never been proven, and it is not provable because you cannot see it.
You can, though.
Okay, but I'm saying you can't, and it's never been seen. Nobody has ever seen actual macroevolution.
What if that last statement you made was not true? Then would you change your belief?
No, because it's not. It's absolutely true. It's never been seen.
Hypothetically, Nelson, if that statement was not true, would you change your belief?
What, that it's never been observed? That macroevolution, the natural theory of evolution, or you could say Darwinian evolution or whatever you want to call it.
It's not been seen in a lab. All right.
Well, I'm saying a lab is not evolution. Okay, creating the scenario of something to exist. So they've supposedly proven the Big Bang Theory. They do this over and over and over again, and then they realize, oh, you know what? That's not how the universe existed before the Big Bang. Of course, they're assuming that there were things. All these things existed before they existed. They pre-existed themselves. Which, think about that. But they go into a lab and they put all these chemical elements together and they act on it, and boom, they get life, right? And they say, we've proven the Big Bang. It's like, wait a minute, you're saying an intelligent designer created this whole thing. Saying it's just nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, I guess if you don't understand how things work, then nothing makes sense. I mean, that's basically how we could describe
your entire lab scenario implies an intelligent designer. Okay, so
not that that's true, but even if that were true, what would that prove in your mind?
You're saying in a lab, right? I'm saying that means intelligent design. That would imply
what if that were true? Then what? Like, what does that lead to logically in your mind?
It still implies an intelligent designer. So
what does that?
God, and that just proves that evolution needs God. God doesn't need evolution.
So all right, let's go there.
But still,
let's go there.
Let me finish. No one can live within an evolutionary scenario. No one can live consistent with evolution because they think that humans are more important than animals. Only humans have intelligence and reason and are worth defending. And
what if evolution does require God? What's the problem with that? Not that that's true, but what?
Look, it does require God. It can't be a naturalist.
What's the problem
process.
What if it requires?
It's a nonsensical. If evolution is true, you have no order. You have no basis for order. You have no foundation for moral laws. You have no foundation for natural laws. You have no foundation for free will. You have no foundation for reason. You have no foundation for thoughts. You have no foundation for independent thoughts. You have no foundation for desires. You have no foundation for
So if we have God, we have no foundation for any of those things?
No, this is a worldview. Again, when you mentioned assumptions back in the beginning, if you assume that God exists, you have a foundation for all of these things because God is reason.
Wow.
God is logic.
Wow.
He is these things. Moral laws require a moral law prescriber. Moral laws for. Okay, Brunson. All right. Well, that was fun. I'm sure that was when we screamed over each other.